And just like that, we have it wet sanded and polished. Now, I had never actually polished anything up before, or had to, I guess, appropriately wet sand it in order to polish it. So because of that, I had a few learning steps, and I started mostly in this area and then continued on over. And it seems like these stripes in the middle were due to maybe how the metallic flakes settled in the spray gun. So I think those were there before, but it's obviously more prominent right here. And I'm assuming that's probably because I went through the process of going from 1500 to 2000 to 3000 to polishing to 2000 to 3000 to polishing a few times in order to get the hang of what exactly each stage was supposed to look like. And the handful of issues I ran into, the primary one being I just was not using enough rubbing compound, so I was just kind of spinning my pads on the panel and not really doing a whole lot. So once I kind of got that down pat, then I started to understand more how much to use, and then, you know, especially that wool certainly cuts faster than even a heavy pad, so because of that, that made these two panels go a lot more quickly. But then I started, after I got the hang of it with this one, I think the paint's a little further down, obviously, and because of that, I still can't decide if I'm gonna redo this panel. It looks not that, it looks pretty decent, or at least the wet sand and polish job looks pretty nice. The paint mostly matches a handful of other, I guess, imperfections in some of the other paint, like I mentioned on the fender, especially with how some of that metallic laid out. But the only thing that concerns me, though, is I don't know if this is just a byproduct of wet sanding, or if this is because it's single stage, or because how much I ended up taking off while I was kind of getting the process down. The color lightened up slightly, so it'll be very interesting to see. I'm probably going to end up doing the hood or maybe a fender next, so it'll be interesting to see if it lightens up the same amount just from a cut and buff, or if now that I have the process down, if I'm going to cut off so little that it's going to basically remain that same color. So that'll, once I get the next panel done, that'll kind of determine if I want to repaint this. But this was a good learning experience anyway, because you can see a bit of a repair piece where this was a filler, and I'm pretty sure I managed to sand down to at least the first coat of single stage, because this would have been a chunk of, or not a chunk, but a slight amount of body filler that would have probably absorbed a little bit of paint. And then also in this corner, I don't know if I burned through or just didn't polish that enough, or what the deal was, but it just looks very odd. But yeah, other than that, just the general practice of how to cut and buff, I think I got the hang of it now. So if I can get this back to one uniform color with just one respray, and cut it up with 600 or 800 grit, and then start doing these panels and get to look the same, and then go redo the whole cut and buff process, I'd be plenty happy with that. So we will see how it goes, but that's a painted car. And even then, I don't know, I like the color either way. It looks really nice in the sunlight when you open up the garage. So hopefully the car will be reassembled here after a while. But I think the next thing I'm probably gonna be doing is repairing the inner fenders with some new metal, so that they bolt in to the rad support, and then also repairing a little bit of the rad support where it's got eaten out from the battery acid, like every other rad support from the 60s and 70s. So thanks for watching, guys.